YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So today guys, we are gonna talk about Nouvelles. So finally we made a proper deck that we can use for the game and in rank for that matter. So I tried a few builds within Dogmaticus. It was good for some time, but the ability with that deck to break was just astronomical. So a couple of wins there, a couple of losses there, and most of the time it was bricky. So we just settled with a more budgety type of a Nouvelle deck. So budgety, I mean, there is another version wherein you're gonna use heralds, which there is a couple of URs there, SRs there, so it's kind of expensive. The most budgety one that you can use for the deck is with the incantation engine here. So right off the bat, we are running 2 copies of Maxi, 3 copies of Ash Blossom as one of your staples, 2 copies of your Called by the Graves. Now typically 2 copies of Maxi is a sour taste in most of the people's mouth, just having 2 copies of it. Go for 3 copies, but it goes beyond 40 cards, so it's really up to you. So just settle with 2 copies just to make it 40 cards. It's easy enough to draw a copy of Maxi, since the purpose of this deck is it allows you to recycle, tribute, and to add a card to your hand. The game plan here is summoning a copy of Burly Base to the field, excavate a pile. Another good win con for this deck is having a copy of Voltis to the field. I do believe this is one of the most important cards in your arsenal, mainly because, or there are a couple of reasons, because every card targeted on the field will trigger its effect. Every monster that's going to be attacked, whether you attack your opponent's monster, it will trigger the Poultice effect, and then you use the effect for the Nouvelle monster. And the best part of this is you can spell summon one level 4 or level 5 monster after you use the Poultice effect. So for the incantation engine, we are running 1 copy of Pensive Plume, 1 copy of Candle, and 3 copies of Talismandra. Perfect good ratio for the deck as well. 1 copy of your Gamma Seal if you are running against Purities or even Dragon Links, which they have 1 important boss monster in the field. And then we have 3 copies of Poisoner de Nouvelles. Now you might be wondering, why are you running 3 copies of Poisoner de Nouvelles but you are only running with 1 copy of Culinary Confrontation and a copy of Coverture? It's not really a problem because majority of the time you want to draw into a copy of this because you can normal summon this, add a ritual monster or a ritual card, and once this card is used as a fodder for a ritual summon, it will be in your pendulum zone waiting for its effect to happen, targeting 1 monster on the field and change its battle position. You can also change your opponent's monster into attack position so that that card will be used as a fodder for your very own Nouvelle monster, or you target your very own Nouvelle monster to trigger an effect and tribute your opponent's monster as well. 2 copies of Burly Base just for your excavate, 1 copy of Kashtiras just to pop 1 spell and trap in the field. Also, if you ritual summon this card with the help of your meat recipe, you can change all of your opponent's monster into attack position if they are on defense. So a really good card against ninjas and also against Kashtiras. 2 copies of your Poultice. Like I said, this is one of the most important cards in your Nouvelle arsenal. 1 copy of your Foy de Glaciad just to recycle back 3 cards from your graveyard to your deck. 1 copy of your Baleminor just to add 1 recipe card or 1 Nouvelle card from your deck to your hand. And this is the last card that can summon your Bale Grail to the field. Bale Grail, of course, can summon Hungry Burger. 1 copy of Harpy's Federator if you're going up against Labrynth or any stun decks for that matter. 2 copies of Pre-Preps, 1 Triple Tactics, 3 copies of the Nouvelle Restaurant because this is really important as well. 2 copies of your Fish Recipe, 1 Meat Recipe, 3 copies of your Forbidden Chalice. So the reason for having 3 copies of Chalice here is because this can be used as a trigger effect for your very own Nouvelle monster. So it's much better to trigger your own Nouvelle monster for their effects. 2 copies of Called by the Grave, 1 copy of your Confrontation, and the last copy which is your Chef's Special Recipe. Extra deck wise, 1 copy of Coverture, 1 copy of your Chaos Angel because most of the time you'll have 6 and 4s on the field that are dark and light, so that's easy enough to actually use. 1 copy of your Assembled Nightingale, 1 Donor Magician, 1 Zeus, 1 Anima, the Nightmare Engine which is the Cerberus, Phoenix, and the Unicorn. 1 copy of Track Blackbird. This allows you to draw 1 card if the monster you control or this card points to destroys a monster. 1 copy of Pit Knight Earl for a negate, a really good card as well. And 3 copies of your Dynamundo are a really good synergy with the ritual decks, so this is on 3 copies. And lastly, 1 copy of your Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. You can change this with an Axis Goat Talker or an Appaloosa. It's really up to you, but for the sake, I really love Underworld Goddess of the Closed World, so go for this if you want. So that is the deck profile, ladies and gents. Let's go towards the replays and I'll see you guys in the outro. See you then. Alright guys, so here we are with the replays and we're going up against your very own Farfa here. So I'm not sure if this is just a guy naming himself Farfa. But anyways, yeah, we have one Talismandra, one Poultice, one copy of Bale Grill, and 2 copies of your Poisoner, the Nouvelles. So to start off, we get more materials to the field and use the effect of Talismandra to get a copy of Candle to the field, which allows us to get a copy of Fish Recipe. We normal summon our Poisoner, get a copy of our Balaminor, use the effect of the Fish Recipe, spell summon the Balaminor to the field, and with that, since we summon the Balaminor, using Fish Recipe, we get a copy of Meat Recipe. So Chain Link 1 Balaminor, Chain Link 2 Poisoner to be on the Pendulum Zone. And that way, Balaminor will excavate a Nouvelles card. Which, we were very lucky to get a copy of Kashtiras here. So insanely good. Use the effect of Meat Recipe. I could have gone with the Kashtiras here, but the most important one, like I said earlier, is summoning a copy of your Poultice to the field. So, it triggers if you attack a monster in the field, and if you target your own monster, or they target their own monster for an effect, like example, going up against Kashtiras, it will trigger the effect as well. So we use the effect of Poultice, draw 1 card, and with the effect of the Poisoner, we will use its effect. So there we go, spell summoning the Balaminor to the field, getting a copy of our Chef's Special Recipe. We need also the protection though, so that's why we're gonna get the trap card. So for our opponent, he's gonna summon Fenrir to the field. He's trying to trigger my trap card. Luckily, we're just waiting. If he gets another Kashtira there, that means to say he's running a pure Kashtira or just a heavy engine with the Kashtiras. If not, we're just gonna wait for a secondary card, which is like this, an Ariana. So he's gonna use the effect of Ariana, use the effect of the trap card. Now this is just a counter trap, so it cannot be negated unless he has another counter trap. So with that, use the effect. With that, he's gonna set 1 card and attack my monster. We're gonna use the effect of Balaminor here to tribute the monster's effect. And of course, since our Burly base has been targeted for an effect, we will tribute our own attack position monster, spell summon our Poultice, and use the Fenrir to summon the Bale Grill to the field. With the Poultice, we get a copy of 1 card for the draw, and that's how he ends his turn. But before that, we summon Hungry Burger, of course. So, yeah. Typically, all of the Nouvelle monsters, once you summon them to the field by an effect of a Nouvelle monster, they will have a quick effect like this. So insanely good. On our turn, our opponent will just use the effect of Barrier here to avoid us from summoning ritual monsters, but it's not really a problem because we have another monster on mind. So there we go. He's gonna use Ariana. Luckily, we have the 2 copies of Chalice from our draw. We Harpy's Flare Duster that card. So destroying the Eradicator, okay, that's a slim chance of getting a level 8 there. But anyways, we go for Chaos Angel from the 3 cards on the field. Banish 1 card, normal summoning our Poisoner, get a copy of our Fish Recipe. Now we can summon our Kashtiras here because this is a level 2. So we don't want to use up most of our cards here, don't we? So attack, and that leaves him for 1,400 on his life with 1 face down Forbidden Chalice. So that's it. We won the game because our guy is suicidal. So yeah, that's game number 1. Let's go for game number 2. Alright, so for game number 2, our opponent is going first. Luckily, it's not anymore famous YouTuber. We have 1 Maxi, 1 Ash Blossom, 1 Pensive Bloom, 1 Talismandra, and a copy of our Bale Grill. So insanely good that we have 1 Ritual Monster here. Well, you always have a Ritual Monster on hand because the amount of Ritual Monsters that you have in the deck. So our guy is going to spell summon a card. We will chain with Maxi, allowing us to draw 2 or 3 cards. I forgot. But yeah, he allowed us to draw a card. There we go. Normal summoning that. Now this is a really good example here because, or a really good matchup here because ninjas target a card, which of course in our side it is very needed that we are getting targeted. So insanely good. He's gonna set 1 card. I think this is the quick play spell that he set. So yeah, Kagera's on the field, and then the Green Ninja with the face down. What's the name of that card again? Tobari. So There we go. We drew a copy of Preparation, so insane. Get a copy of Call by the Grave. And we use pre-prep to get a copy of our cards here. Now, I could have gone with a Kashtiras here as a primary one, but we were so lucky that we excavated the right card. Anyways, we go for the incantation there, trying to trigger the trap card there because I don't know what trap card that is. So he just wanted us to get more fathers to the field. So go for the fish recipe, special summoning the Burly base to the field. Burly base will excavate a card, which of course we were lucky again, getting a copy of our Kashtiras. So since we have a meat recipe, we use that one, tribute one monster in the field, and go for Kashtiras. Kashtiras will then, the spell card will then change all defense position monsters to face up. So attack position, so we have choices there. And with the Kashtiras, we'll pop one back row, which is the notebook. Luckily we have Ash Blossom for negate. And use the effect of our very own Kashtiras from the chalice. Like I said earlier, this is a really good trigger effect with our very own Nouvelles. So there we go. Tribute our opponent's monster for a poultice. There we go. And like I said earlier, if you attack a monster in the field, you will trigger the effect of poultice as well. So it's a win-win for us. So with that, we draw into a copy of our field spell, which is a really good card here. Revive back or get a copy back or spin back a card from our graveyard to our hand, which is the fish recipe. And with that, we go for Bell Grill to the field. Bell Grill will then use the effect to negate all cards in the field as Chainlink 1. Chainlink 2 will summon Hungry Burger to the field. Luckily, our opponent is going to summon Fusion Monster. So that's one... two materials down on the field for 1. But he doesn't know the resolution for Bell Grill will affect first, so allowing me to negate all of the monsters or all of the cards face up on the field. So with that, I'm attacking with my copy of Burly base, triggering the effect of Poultice here. He's gonna go for Maizen, and like I said, it's negated, so allowing us to tribute his Maizen. And with that, we go for Balaminor, get a copy of our trap card for a follow-up. Attack. And we still have a face-up Talismandra, which we are not really afraid of because we have a face-up Poultice on the field. And of course, we got a copy of Poisoner, so yeah, insane. So whatever he does here, we already have a win condition. So go for draw, and that's game. It's gonna make me trigger the special recipe, but it doesn't really matter. Why would I even trigger the special recipe for anti-spell fragrance? So he's gonna go for the notebook as his last choice. Luckily, we just negate that one and go for game with exactly 2,400. So yeah, that's good. So that is game number 2, guys. Let's go for game number 3. Alright guys, so game number 3, we're going up against Kashtiras here. We got 1 Poultice, 1 Foy de Glacia, 2 copies of Poisoner de Nouvelles, and 1 copy of your fish recipe. So it's still good though. So we still need like the Burly base since we don't have anything else. Go for Poisoner to the field, Dermal Summon, get a copy of our Burly base. Ritual Summon it to the field. And with that, we get a copy of meat recipe. Excavate the pile. Try to get a Nouvelle card. So I think we got the field spell here. So we got the field spell. Use the effect of the field spell. Recycle back 1 card. Since we don't really need the level 4s or level 5s there, or level 4 or level 3s. So go for pre-prep that we draw, and then excavate it with a copy of our monster. So we need the Poultice on the field because that is one of the important cards, like I said earlier. Sadly, we couldn't get like another card, by the way, so yeah. Prioritize the Poultice above anything else, and with that, you'll win most of your games. So there you go. Our draw was so unlucky there. Nevertheless, it's perfectly fine. At the end of the turn, we recycled back 2 cards, and we got a copy of Kashtiras out of that draw. So with the meat recipe in the second turn, it's good. So he's gonna target my monster there. We don't have any face-up attack position monster. That would be really good, in fact. But nevertheless, it's perfectly fine. This guy just normal summoning the Rise Art target it with the Theosis, and thus we trigger the effect of the Poultice. So like I said earlier, any card targeted to the field, it will trigger the effect of Poultice. And with that, Balamior is summoned to the field, get a copy of the field spell as a follow-up for next turn. You'll go with a copy of Triple Tactics Thrust, getting a copy of Pot of Desires, and for this reason alone, this guy bricked on 2 cards. So insane. Draw 2 cards more, and he still bricked. So he just got like a Dark Hole with the Lightning Storm here. So yeah, destroying all the monsters doesn't really matter for me as long as he doesn't have game on this turn. So during our turn, we got a copy of Chalice here. Doesn't really matter because we still have a copy of Poisoner de Nouvelles. The reason for this is because of the secondary effect, banish any number of recipe cards from the graveyard and spell summon 1 Nouvelle monster. So we don't really technically use the cards here, but in fact, this is just like a ritual summon for the Nouvelles. So normal summon the Poisoner, banish 2 cards, spell summon the Kashtiras, pop the back row, and we are free for our spell cards. And there we go. Tribute the Kashtiras and the attack position monster. Spell summon the Poultice once more. Poultice will allow us to draw a card, and then the Poisoner will be on the Pendulum Zone. I really like the archetype though, but it still lacks power. And I do understand why it lacks power, because this type of gameplay is just gonna be disgusting if this has like around 2,000 or more attack on the field. So this guy is gonna use our summon Fenrir to the field. Luckily we have Chalice, so yeah, and he is on defense position, but he doesn't know that we still have a Poisoner de Nouvelles on the back row. So during our turn, use the effect of Poisoner, change his Fenrir to attack position, get a copy of our Burly base. He's gonna use the effect of Fenrir, targeting my Poultice, and then we trigger the effect of Poultice here. So summon the Void Glacia, spin back 3 cards, and we go for an attack. Yeah, the deck is just so insane with a ton of advantage as long as you have the right cards on the field. And you know how to play this deck, it's really fun to play. But yeah, like I said, it still lacks power. I think the variant for the Herald is a much better one because it has power. So with that Excavate, we got a copy of Poultice here, so insanely good. But we don't really need that, but instead we spin that back with a draw 1 card. So with that, we have 1 negate and a Call by the Grave, so that's still good. Spin back 2 cards, we got a Harpies for the Duster. So our opponent just bricked every time. Brick. You got Triple Tactics, just attack, just fast forward this, go for Chalice, target our Void Glacia, spell summon our Barlamignon, get a copy of our Kashtiras, attack for 2,000. I'm just trying to dish out more damage here because we always have an advantage here. I'm not sure if he has a copy or a secondary copy of Harpies here. Regardless, we won that game because he bricked. Alright, so that was the deck profile and those were the replays. Hope you enjoyed this kind of content. Like and subscribe for more contents like this. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.